Alright, welcome back. We are on day 2 of the Fluffycon Warhammer tournament. It's Vol here, aka Tomb King's Luke, and here's my Tomb King's army deployed against an opposing Ogre Kingdom's army, and this will be my first game ever against Ogre Kingdom's apparently the fluffiest army the weakest and fairest per se army in Warhammer Fantasy. The tournament itself had some formal rules regarding tiered army composition, where if you pick a certain type of army, such as Ogre Kingdoms, you get a bonus modifier to your army composition. Whereas if you pick demons or vampire counts, for example, you get a subtraction from your modifier. So depending on what race you go for the tournament, you may get certain pluses or minuses, given how inherently powerful or unpowerful or weak your army is. And Ogre Kings apparently are right up there in terms of underpowered, and Tomb Kings are normal. And dogs barking in the background. I'm not sure whether the microphone's picking that up, but there you go. Anyway, this is the Ogre Kingdoms guy that has the fantastic Warhammer army, who's painted up like sort of African safari jungle pygmy guys. And I love this army. It looks so cool. And you've got my army here with the cavalry, chariots, cavalry in the middle, chariots on either side of the cavalry, stone throw on the hill as usual, scorpions on either side, carrion in the middle behind the forest, and all the archers on the flank. Now, this game, I was really worried about the forest in the middle of the map. I knew that was going to split my army up, and I didn't really want to do that. I knew that it was going to block some line of sight, and I was just really worried that I wouldn't really be able to get attacks off. So what I did is I deployed all my archers on the flank, just tried to refuse that a little bit, and just keep the scorpion in the middle and some chariots there, just in case the right flank came under threat. But I was really worried about it, because I was worried that he'd deploy everything on the left-hand side and just roll around the right-hand side, and really force me to sort of maneuver in awkward ways and not get that much shooting off. This other photo, you can see his deployment a bit better, where he's got some pygmy guys, also counting as noblars in the rules, as well as 2 units of ogres on the left-hand flank, crucially, with none of my stuff to charge it, so he's going to be able to bash the archers, and all of his brutal stuff on the right-hand flank, including the Yetis, which will go through the forest. And he's obviously he's scouting with some skirmishing pygmies with blowpipes. Some of them are going in the forest on the right-hand side, some of them are going in the difficult terrain on the left-hand side. So, next photo, ogres moving forward. And what's happening here is the main bulk of the ogres in the background there are wheeling towards the Tomb Kings on the left, and these 2 other units are just marching forward to the Tomb Kings on the right. Just getting as far towards them as possible, just to bash the archers, because the archers will not stand up against the ogres at all. Going to the next photo, he's also got these pygmy guys in the building, and ogres just moving forward here to march within range of these archers and absolutely bash them. There's nothing they can do. But on the right hand side, you can see the pygmies have actually the scouting pygmies have charged the archers on the right hand side. Now, he was really counting on actually doing well in that combat to tie them up in order for the ogres to arrive. But what actually happened is that the archers beat the pygmy noblars in combat and pursued them. Like, I've got a double 6 in the pursue, so they actually ran 12 inches to the right into the difficult terrain and out of range of the ogres marching towards them. So that was fantastic. So very nice play there, and a lot of luck from me. Next picture, what you can see here is him just moving ever so carefully forward with his big group of ogres on the left, and me march blocking with the carrion in the middle. But unfortunately, the lead belchers in the background will be able to shoot them in. The plan here is, as you can see, if the ogres move any further forward, they'll be charged by 4 or 5 different undead units on the left-hand flank. And what I was hoping to do is just slowly inch backward right to the edge of the table and just wait it out and make sure the game went on as long as possible, and for me to get as many Screaming Skull Catapult hits as possible. Just picking away at him with the Screaming Skull Catapult and doing it that way was my game plan. Whereas, unfortunately, the hole in my game plan was the fact that my right-hand flank was under attack by 2 ogre units here, and I didn't really have anything to deal with it, because if I attack them on the left with my chariots and my scorpion, then all my archers will die, and I'll get charged in the back and the flank by these other ogre units steamrolling around the side. So we'll find out what happens next about that, but I'm really enjoying the tactical side of this game, and it's all because of that tree cluster in the middle. Next photo, the ogre steamroll the the skeleton archers absolutely just pummel them. All of the ogres charging in here and just smashing me to death. So this picture tells 1,000 words. You get some close up on his guys too. Very cool looking ogres there. But yeah, I love the ogre with the bear trap as well. The other guys with the iron fists. So that's what he's using to represent them. Now over here, this is the extreme right-hand side of the battlefield. The archers that pursued the other Noblar unit off the table and beat them have now run into a difficult terrain. So they've just swung around and they're just camping out in the difficult terrain here, hiding by the fence. And there's a Noblar unit which have left the building. So I'm just darkening the sky with arrows and skewering those pygmies there. Very cool photo that, and yeah, that's very explanative of what's going on over here. Next photo, this is a picture just very low from the table of the left-hand flank and what's going on over here. So you can see in the far background the ogres are actually bashing the skeleton archers. So that flank has crumbled. But on the left-hand flank, however, he's got the Yetis in the forest, and he's got 2 units of ogres here. One unit of Doom there with the double-handed weapons and the ogres. He's got all the butchers there. He's got the ogre bruiser. He hasn't got a tyrant. He's got a bruiser. And he's got a squad in the middle there, and he's casting stuff like troll guts on them, which gives them regenerate and other buffs and so forth. I'm actually really surprised he didn't move forward and charge me. He was too afraid that I would charge him with like 4 or 5 units. And I felt that if I did that, I wouldn't beat him in combat. I just wasn't sure. I'm not really experienced enough to know with these things. Never played Ogre Kingdoms before. But I really loved the fact that he just didn't want to attack. And that gave me heaps of time to just keep shooting him. And what happened was the Screaming Skull Catapult just kept knocking at him. And eventually, after so much smiting on it and keep firing it, it managed to get a shot right directly on the hippo. And smacked it and destroyed the rock launcher, the hippo rock launcher, the scrap launcher with a Rhinox, also represented by the hippo. One funny thing to point out in this game is that he used his rock launcher to fire at me a couple of times and misfired a couple of times, but he rolled a 3 on the misfire chart for the scrap launcher, and that allows me to actually control his guy and fire it instead, but he was always out of the 45-degree fire arc, so I never actually got anything off. Very interesting stuff. Next picture. What have we got here? Hang on a sec. Just digging up the right picture. Yes. Okay. Let's explain what happened here. The ogres defeated the archers. So what it decided to do is charge him with with a scorpion. Well, get into position with the scorpion and get into position with the chariots. And really, unfortunately, I positioned them incorrectly. Apparently the ogres were within 45-degree charge range of the chariots, and I couldn't. I was planning on charging him after the next turn, but because I was stupid and kept him in the 45-degree charge. I mean, it was exactly on the 45-degree sight range angle, and I was just so slapping myself for having it slightly too far, and I'll never make that mistake again. I'm going to keep them slightly out of charge range, but the ogres charged them, and the guy had terrible luck. He rolled little ogres, didn't actually get any kills. I didn't get any kills either, so it was a drawn combat, allowing me to charge with the scorpion later. So that was very fortunate for me, but that could have been a really costly mistake. But as you can see here, the scorpion's moved over, so that's actually freed up the left flank a bit. It means that he won't get charged by the scorpion or the chariots if he moves in with the rest of his army, so the plot thickens. Also, the Carrion are getting blasted by the lead belchers in the background. So next photo, what happens here? The scorpion charges the ogre there and wipes him out and actually pursues with a 666 on the pursuit. So 18 inches from the left-hand side of the picture there all the way over to the right. And the reason why that ogre banner bearer is there is just so that we can remember that this scorpion has actually captured the banner from that unit. And that devastates them. So really happy that I won that combat with the scorpion charge. And, of course, the pygmies are facing off, the Noblars are facing off against the archers on the right-hand side. And he's only got that one small unit of ogres left. Next photo, the lead belchers have charged the Carrion, and the Carrion, as you can tell, didn't really stand a chance. Really great for march blocking. I march blocked them for several turns, but that was the extent of the usefulness of the Carrion. They probably saved the day in other respects, but fortunately... unfortunately, they managed to get destroyed at the end of it. Next photo, the chariots get into position to charge the ogres here. In fact, they charged them, killed one guy, they ran away, and getting in position to wipe them out next turn. So that picture's fairly self-explanatory. And let me explain what happened here, because this is the end of the game. Okay, so Tomb King's turn 6. I got the second turn for this game, so he wasn't able to retaliate. So after all of that positioning and staking out and waiting, I charged him, knowing that he couldn't countercharge me. I wiped out a unit with the King's Chariot group. The Hierophant's flown in to use some smiting. The Scorpion missed its charged. And what happened is that his massive unit of Doom, all of the guys with double-handed weapons, the Bruiser, the Bruiser and the Butcher, they failed their panic test from the unit breaking within 6 inches, and they fled. And because they didn't have a turn to rally in, I got the points of that entire unit. So what looked like an intense game turned out to be a massive victory, a decisive victory for the Undead. And, wow, feeling really good after that one. Really played it well, very tactical, just played my cards perfectly, and that was it. Thanks, guys.